Can you all hear me?
Yes.
All right. So good morning, everyone. My name is Adini, and I will be the one moderating today's session. So I want to welcome everyone to the launching ceremony of the African BIM Report, ABR 2022. You're all welcome, and I hope you would really enjoy today's session and also learn one or two things. Thank you very much. So without wasting much of our time, I would like to go straight into starting the session. So the next item on our agenda is just a brief recap of what we've done in BIM Africa over the years. Okay, so I personally I am a beneficiary of the initiative of the BIM Africa. In 2019, I was a student advocate for BIM Africa, and during the competition or / advocacy program, I and my colleague, we emerged third out of 77 African countries. So I am very happy and very delighted to even be a part of BIM Africa and also share and learn with various colleagues across Africa. So the picture on the screen, showing on the screen, is basically about the progress of BIM Africa and sessions that BIM Africa had done over the years. So I'm sure you would find some interesting pictures there. Thank you very much. So I would also be moving to the next session, which is to be handled by Mr. Afiz Oyediro. Mr. Afiz, are you on the call?
Yes, yes, I'm here, Adeni.
Okay, so I will yield to you right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the brief introduction and the brief update of what has been done at BIM Africa. So for this part of today's occasion, we would like to appreciate everyone that has contributed directly or indirectly to the ABR report 2022, starting from the board of directors, the strategic advisors, the country representatives, operations and programs team, various communities and professionals institute that shared the ABR survey with their database, and all survey respondents. So for starting, we would also like to appreciate the authors that also contributed from their expertise on the report to give insights on different aspects of BIM, starting with Professor Mahamadu from Cairo University, Mr. Kamal Adel from Cairo, Dr. Deena from the British University in Egypt, and Professor Musonda from the University of Johannesburg, and Adetayo Onosose from the University of Johannesburg. Also, without wasting much of your time, this is the entire team that actually took part in the report. From the Secretariat, we have Dr. Saka from Leeds Beckett University in the UK, Adeni, who spoke earlier from BIM Africa, and the coordinator for the ABR 2022 was Dr. Abdul-Majeed from UCL UK. Our regional partners, because we had partners in each region to handle different parts of the report. We have Professor Marzuk and Dr. Mustafa Hawari both from the University of Cairo in Egypt for North Africa. For South Africa, we have Dr. Innocent Musunda from Johannesburg and the same with Adetayo Nosose. And from West Africa, we have Professor Martin Morgan Tuli from Ghana. And we have from Central Africa, we have Dr. Henry Abanda, who is also on the call from Oxford Brookes University in the UK. And East Africa, we have Dr. Rema Monko from Tanzania. And for the survey team, this was led by Dr. Loveleen Obi from Northumbria University in the UK, Oludapo Ibrahim Olanrewaju from New Zealand, Dr. Khalid Bulgaria from Malaysia, from the project and expertise article, that was handled by Moses from BIM Africa, and also myself from BIM Africa. There's also Chema Ayachi from Tunisia. There is Flint Svinurai from Zimbabwe. And for Arabic translators, because we had to translate into different languages so that in order to widen the reach of the report. We have Mohammed Mustafa Abuhal from Egypt, Amir Mohammed Bassioni from Egypt, and Moussey Hotma from Tunisia. For the French translators, we have Christian Kika Bahara, we have Manon Bonafaus from the Noli Reunion. Then we have Aziz Bedororo from Benin. Then Habubakar Kwere from Burkina Faso. We have Raymond Tuyi Zere from Rwanda. And for our designers, we have the French, for the French design, we have Mensa Salah from Morocco. And for Arabic design, we have Mohamed Halla from Egypt. And thank you everyone for being part of this. And I also apologize for names I did not pronounce correctly. I'm sorry. Okay, Adeni, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Afiz Oyediran. That was great. So I would like to apologize to everyone for us starting late. Next section, which is the panel discussion on African BIM Report 2022. So I would be calling on our moderator now. That is Dr. Abdul-Majeed Mahamadu from the University College London. He doubles as the ABR 2022 coordinator. Also, I'll be introducing the other panelists, and they are Dr. Henry Abanda, from an associate professor from Oxford Brookes University. The next panelist is Shahenda Shokry, the head of digital transformation, Orascom Construction. Mondher Kacem, engineering and corporate manager, AMA Group. We have Melik Taktak, BIM project manager, AMA Group. Dr. Deena EL-Mahdy, assistant professor, British University in Egypt. And last but not the least, we have Lobna Bouanani Idrissi, the business development manager, Continuum, BIM. So I'll yield the floor to the panel session to begin the panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just to say, I'm very pleased to be joining this seminar, but also generally to have been part or to have supported the efforts of BIM Africa as an organization in developing this report. I think it's a very good initiative, and I guess that's why all of us, myself and then other panel members, have not hesitated contributing, our time and expertise. I strongly believe that it's a right step in the direction in terms of, just highlighting implementation of BIM and other digital technologies across the continent, but also contributing, our little quota in terms of discourse in digital transformation in the built environment across Africa. In terms of the report, obviously we will be talking about the content later, but we are all very pleased that the report led to some good outcomes, generally highlighting, high level of awareness of digitalization, particularly BIM across the continent. And also there are so many exciting case studies in the report that is highlighting best practice in the adoption of BIM and related technologies, which I'm sure our panel members would shed some light on, and also later on when we come to discuss the content of the report, it will be interesting to have these discussions. So once again, welcome to our panel members. You have already been introduced, but probably not to a lot of detail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to each of our panel members to tell us a little bit about themselves, their connection with BIM Africa, but just generally digitalization and BIM on the continent. So should I start off with Shahenda, if you don't mind?
Dr. Abdul, I'd like to thank you for the introduction. I'm Shahenda Shokry from Orascom Construction in Egypt. I'm heading the digital transformation unit since 5 years ago for several or many projects. All of these projects are recorded as a unique and mega projects. We started the BIM implementation early in maybe from 12 or maybe more than 12 years ago, with all of its challenges and potentials and benefits.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Good to hear that. And then to my very good friend and brother, Dr. Henry Abanda. I think you're still on mute, Dr. Abanda.
All right. Oh, sorry about that. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. As you said, my name's Henry Abanda. I am based in Oxford Brookes University. My research interest is in digital construction technologies with a specific focus on BIM. And when I embraced BIM some years back, I just thought about my motherland, Africa. And so I started going back to Africa, specifically Central Africa, to raise awareness about BIM through conferences, workshops. So I did that in Cameroon. And I've also done similar initiatives in Ethiopia, Ghana, Nigeria. And when BIM Africa came up, I thought, oh, this is something great. And then I joined the advisory board. And since then, I've just been part of this initiative. And I still keep on going back to Francophone Africa. I've even developed a YouTube channel where I do some of the lectures in English and French with the hope of actually converting those who are only French speaking to at least understand it before they start struggling in finding literature in English. So this is really an initiative that I embrace with all my energy and efforts. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Very good to hear about some of the works in, pushing BIM and the knowledge across a very diverse continent where, we speak a lot of languages. So that's very, very worthy work, Dr. Abanda. Thank you very much. And to Lobna.
Hello all. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for having this event and for creating this BIM Africa report. As you said, my name is Lobna, Bouanani and Idrissi. I am the Business Development Manager of Continuum BIM Group. Our entity is one of the leading BIM agencies in Morocco, and I am I've been head of a business development department since 2020. We started leading BIM projects in Morocco since 2017, and in 2018, one of our BIM projects in the infrastructure sector has been presented to His Majesty the King Mohammed VI. Since then, there was a launch of a wave of normalization of BIM use in all the projects in Morocco, of course, BIM projects with the public entities. And since then, we have been leading this efforts for a better use of BIM in the construction sector. For BIM Africa, we have seen and got or known BIM Africa from the African BIM Report of 2020. And since then, we have been amazed by the efforts that this community has been leading and wanted to be a part of this community and to actually accelerate as well the integration of this community in the Moroccan level. So since then, or I think since the end of 2021, we've become members and partners with BIM Africa. And right now, we will be organizing very soon the BIM Africa Summit in Marrakesh and co-hosting it with the BIM Africa team. And I hope many of the people and the panel attendees will be present with us in Marrakesh.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. We're indeed looking very much to that summit and also very glad that pace setters like yourself in the Moroccan market are part of this. And there's obviously a lot of lessons to be learned, you know, from your side onwards to other participants. Thank you very much. And to Mondher, Mondher Kacem.
Hello everyone, I'm here in Tunis, Mondher Kacem and Malik from AMA Group. Our group is an active group in the engineering and construction industry. We have more than one firm. We have the AMA Engineering and Project Management, which is an engineering firm, and AMA Construction that works in construction industry, and other firm in maintenance and facility management of building. We worked actively in implement BIM in all our process in the engineering and construction. We started to implement BIM in our process from 2016. Now it is like 6 years that we have begun the first training in tools and in the BIM process. I'm the engineering manager of the firm, and I'm the BIM manager with Mr. Malik. We manage all the process and try to implement the BIM in the group. We are active in Africa in many countries. In engineering, we have dual projects in Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Congo, Kinshasa, Congo, Brazzaville, Chad, Cameroon, and also in Burundi, we are very active in building, construction, and engineering. Mr. Malik can introduce himself. Also.
Yeah, I'm Malik Tahtab. Thank you for the invitation. I'm the BIM projects manager, so I'm leading the implementation of the projects through design, from design to construction. As you said, Mr. Mondher, so we have many sub-companies, engineering firms, and construction companies. So we are implementing all the processes and all the BIM dimensions step by step to have a better project in Africa, to satisfy our clients with the BIM users, with the benefits behind the BIMs, behind the BIM processes. And we hope that we are leading our country in Tunisia to implement and adopt more this technology to be able to build better projects.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Once again, very refreshing to hear, a story of an early adopter in the context of North Africa. But it's also more exciting that your company's got a wider reach across Africa. So definitely, a good conduit for, raising BIM awareness across the continent. Thank you very much. Okay, fantastic. So to last but not the least, Dr. Deena EL-Mahdy.
Hello, thank you for allowing me to join the team and sharing in the BIM report. It's my first time to share in this group, so it was really beneficial for me. My name is Deena EL-Mahdy. I'm assistant professor at the British University in Egypt, and mainly my specialized is in 3D printing in construction and architecture. Mainly, I have been presenting in the report one of the latest projects that we did in Spain. However, when I came back, I'm trying to introduce this 3D printing techniques in the Egyptian construction sector. So hope we can reach something global. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much, Deena. So thank you to our panelists for the introductions. It's quite obvious that we've got a wide range of expertise on the panel, as well as an extensive amount of experience. So I've got a lot of questions that we are interested in as a community that I'm sure you would all be able to shed some light on. I will start off with Shahenda. So there's all of this talk about digital transformation or digital transformation of digital disruption of the built environment in Africa. How far do you think we have come?
Dr. Abdul, in fact, technological disruption is transforming markets and society across Africa in a way that would not have been possible even 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And this, of course, opens up huge and still largely commercial potentials for domestic and international businesses. Disruptive technologies is transforming Africa, of course, and also transforming its economic potential. However, to be specific, or to be much more specific in construction, there is a lot of emerging technologies that can drastically improve the efficiency of the construction processes, such as VDC, big data, mixed reality, Internet of Things, robotic, 3D printing, or laser scanning. But of course, to maximize these opportunities, both the businesses and the policymakers needs to be ready to take the challenges that still lie ahead. This includes many aspects, such as having the required skills, train people, have the required infrastructure, telecoms, and the transport links, to ensure the digital disruption has the needed infrastructure and capacity in order to have a successful transformation.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that response. You've mentioned a lot of emerging technologies, and some have described this generally as part of a fourth industrial revolution. So there are a lot of people who usually make reference to the proliferation of mobile technology within Africa. Africa was able to sort of leapfrog and jump the whole, telephone, landline sort of revolution and move straight to a mobile sort of revolution or market. In terms of the construction industry, and I'm directing this to Dr. Deena, if you don't mind. In terms of the construction industry, do you think we will be able to similarly leapfrog, just like we are, the African continent was able to do in the case of mobile telecommunications?
Yeah. So it's a very important question, because I think any of other technologies that has been invested into the industry has been developing through years. So I mean, most of the people are mainly afraid of the social impact of the technology itself. For when focusing on, for example, the 3D printing in construction, it might be like a threat where the people might be afraid of replacing the laborers with the machine. However, I believe it will develop people's skills in the construction sector. So in the construction, we were first at the early history, we were building with our bare hands without using any machines or advanced technologies. Then we enhanced those things through machines and softwares. And even from my perspective, softwares are very important, which it reduces the time, the cost, even to optimize the design itself, predict any failure, which will help to reduce the time of the project and the total cost at the end. So yeah, and also maybe for integrating the technology in the construction or the industrial floor, we already are jumping throughout the continent itself. I mean, most of the people are now investing in how they construct and explore more technologies in the moon and Mars, exploring new lives there. So maybe in the construction sector, it's still might take some time, but yeah, I think it's coming.
Fantastic. That's really interesting. So for Africa is always regarded as one of the continents with the highest levels of mobile penetration. Do you think there are any lessons to be learned there in terms of the built environment's efforts towards the adoption of digitalization?
Yeah, I think one of the major aspects that we might take it from the context itself, that we have very rich material, and even the climate is very challenging in each country, that we need to adapt our buildings and our construction to behave with this environment. So respecting the material itself, what we are using below our feet, and how we can reuse the sustainable material on the site directly, with using some technologies and techniques to enhance and have like more contemporary architecture and construction buildings. It might be the right direction from my perspective.
Fantastic. And my next question would go to Dr. Abanda. A lot of countries have taken the route of mandates, so they have mandated the use of BIM, for instance, on public projects or projects of a certain value. And UK is a classical example of where UK government introduced a mandate from 2016, where projects of a certain value were all expected to use building information modeling. Do you think mandate is the way to go in the context of the African continent?
Thank you, Dr. Abdul-Majeed. To an extent, it's a very complex question. I would say yes and no. Yes, in a sense that why not? A mandate is always welcome if it is to our benefit. The countries have actually adopted mandatory policies, have actually benefited in the sense that it has actually increased the adoption of BIM. But then in order to really provide a context to this, I would like to say that in practice, if we want to effect change, we have to consider 5 dimensions, in which I will relate that in an equation: vision plus skills plus incentives plus resources plus action plan equals change. Now, our mandate will fall under vision. I will start removing each of those items, but leaving vision. If you have vision without skills, then it's going to lead to anxiety. If we have vision plus skills without incentives, it's going to lead to resistance. If you have vision plus skills plus incentives without resources, it's going to lead to frustration. And if you have vision, skills, incentive, resources without an action plan, it leads to false start. What do I mean by that? Yes, I earlier said adopting mandatory policies is good. We need that for the African context. But now, if you consider each of these dimensions, for example, we need the skills. Do we have the skills at the level of our continent? Do we have the incentives? Do we have the resources? By resources here, it could be human, it could be technological, it could even be the finances. Do we have it to be able to drive the adoption of BIM? I'm going to say most of those questions to an extent will be no. But then when we think about implementing BIM, we have to think about at the level of a country, local authority, or any business. We must think in terms of adopting it incrementally, step by step, gradual step. Now, when the policies, when BIM was actually mandated for the UK, it was set in 2011, but then it was supposed to be commenced from 2016. Now, if we reflect the equation I've stated, in the UK, for the case of UK, they did not tick all these boxes, okay? So they started. Up to now, I'm not sure the UK they've got, I mean, there's a shortfall of BIM professionals in the UK. They need about 225,000 BIM managers to be able to meet their demand by 2025. So they don't have all the resources. They've not ticked all the boxes to be able to implement their mandatory policies. By that, we need that incremental approach, despite the fact that we don't have all the resources in Africa. I still think that we can actually start, okay, with some of those policies to push BIM. And of course, we need a report like this, which is already telling us about the main barriers of BIM adoption in Africa, the benefits of BIM adoption in Africa. There are companies that are already at the company level in Africa that are already adopting BIM. Some of our colleagues, I think one of Mondher, Kacem, they're already implementing BIM, okay? So to answer the question, I would say, yes, we need to adopt BIM, but we have to be careful. We have to assess our needs at the level of companies, at the level of local authorities, at the country level, and then we have our baby steps. We can copy from different countries that have implemented policies, they've failed, they've learned from their errors, and they've moved on. We can actually learn from them, learn from the UK, and even avoid some of the errors that they've done. But it should be contextualized. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abanda, for the question. So we need a lot of context in the development of the BIM implementation plans. So my next question would go to Lobna. So moving forward from that, what do you think the role of professional institutions and government should be?
So first of all, I love what Dr. Abanda has just presented: vision plus skills plus incentives plus resources plus action plan. I think this is such an amazing thing to present in your intervention, Dr. Abanda, because it's what we need right now. For me, professionals are the ones that are going to be responsible for the skills and also for the resources. You talked about skills. I think in the African level, and right now, just seeing the panel that we're discussing with, we have encouragement of BIM professionals and creation of new BIM consulting agencies that are specialized in BIM. Us Continuum in Morocco, AMA Group in Tunisia, that we highly, by the way, we highly follow and we highly encourage the initiatives that they have been leading in Tunisia. So entities like this are present in all the African continent. I think for us, professionals should basically unite to create guidelines for the government and public institutions to showcase to them the benefits of the use of BIM in projects. Of course, we are in the context of the MENA region and the African region. So yes, let's copy from the countries that have led BIM policies and that have succeeded in that, and take from their feedback. But as well, let's adapt it to the African context, and let's adapt it to the African problems and the African issues that we all know of. Also, professionals, they should unite against these wrong practices that we see right now oncoming in the African level. But these efforts cannot succeed unless there is real support from the governments. So, for example, governments should, as you said, establish a vision, a BIM vision, and also encourage these professionals to gather and to bring forward their skills and their resources. And based on that, they should create an action plan through some incentives and some punishments, I think, that they should create. through also these norms that they're going to be creating, they should create real documentation templates for all the BIM calls of tenders to allow the public institutions and also the private ones to launch their own and in a clear process. They should clarify the process for these new calls of tenders, and they also should review the platform used in the construction industry. Like, for example, I will cite the Dubai municipality that has created their e-submission platform, and it's that respects Dubai building codes and also use BIM tools. And it's an amazing platform that all countries and all governments should follow, because it makes it easy for project owners, for architects, for civil engineers to drop their projects, to lead them through BIM, and that's real advancement. Also, I would like to add that without scientific research, there won't be any real advancement. And I think Dr. Abdul, Dr. Deena, and also Dr. Abanda would vouch for that. The government should definitely urge universities into creating research centers specialized in BIM to study the impacts of BIM and advance or even create new digital paths apart from BIM for the construction sector specific to each country. So this is the vision, and I hope our talk will get to some people and will definitely share these inputs.
Fantastic, definitely. Thank you very much for those very insightful comments. I think the watchword there is collaboration, scientific research. Fantastic. Thank you very much. I'll now move on to Mondher. So you obviously have extensive experience implementing BIM on projects since 2016. So where do you see sort of the state of BIM implementation in the next 5 years?
Yes, in fact, we think that today BIM technology is revolutionizing the way of project management in terms of tools, information exchange, the engineering process and the coordination, and in terms of managing construction and project cost control. Then with all of these tools that BIM needs, there are also many needs of new roles in the IEC industry, like the BIM manager, like to have BIM coordination, BIM modeler, and all these people have needs to be trained and be able to adopt all the tools and all the process. Because BIM is, in fact, a process of work before tools. All this have to be supported by, we think, by governments and the public sector that will have the role of to be more engaged and require new laws in public sectors to create a high level of organization of the IEC industry adopting the BIM process. We think that the way to do this is to collaborate with the private sector, which is the first mover on this revolution of the IEC industry, as in all countries that have adopted BIM processes. I think there are many countries in Africa now, like Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt, and many other in Nigeria and in Congo. They are progressing to implement the BIM in many projects, but we have now to have the adoption in a high level of the country and in the sector public of project, that we can have more propagation of the BIM process. Maybe experts have also to collaborate with the governments to develop a BIM roadmap that will serve all parts involved as well the country itself, with all the country needs and all every country specification in the construction industry. We think also that BIM experts like the groups of the day or other experts should collaborate with the university to create BIM courses to professional. I say the example of AMA Group. We are collaborating now with the National Architectural School in Tunis that have created specific BIM master. The first promotion we began tomorrow. The course with 2 years of courses that we have to train 21 persons to be to have all competences to be a good BIM manager in Tunisia.
Yeah. So I think that we should enhance the ecosystems in every country, universities, professionals, government, public sectors, private sectors. So should collaborate together in every country and exchange experiences with other ecosystems in other countries in Africa to be able to move forward the whole industry in Africa, based on the different cultures, the different needs in every country in Africa. So the next 5 years, we should see more connected ecosystems between countries to be able to move forward. Thank you.
Fantastic. That's a really good point there that you ended on. Ecosystem integration, as well as connectivity across the continent, and a focus on process maturity. That's what we need in the next 5 years of BIM development or digitalization. Fantastic. Thank you very much to our panelists for your very insightful comments and sharing of your experiences. In summary, I'll start off from where we ended. There's a need for process maturity as we go forward, and some of the standardization as well as national implementation visions that would support process maturity. There needs to be ecosystem integration, collaboration, a lot of context-specific implementation, development of vision, and a lot of you have also mentioned skills and the role of, for instance, the academic or scientific community in developing those very, highly needed skills. So thank you very much to our panel, our panelists, and then I'll now hand you over back to our moderator for the rest of the program to continue.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Abdul-Majeed, and the panelists. Yeah, we really appreciate what you did and the discussion. So moving to the next item on the agenda, I would be yielding to Dr. Abdullahi Saka, the Director of the Research and Development Committee, BIM Africa. Thank you very much. Dr. Abdullahi Saka, are you on the call?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It has been interesting so far. Can you kindly enable screen sharing? So thank you very much. It's interesting listening to the panelists. So basically what I'll be talking about is our policy implication and action plan, and it's majorly what the panelists have emphasized, what they've talked about. So briefly, the ABR 2022 actually depicted the growing awareness of BIM. However, I think as we are actually aware, the growing awareness does not really translate to BIM adoption in Africa yet. Though we have so many people that are aware of BIM now, but it's not really, it does not really translate to BIM adoption. So there is need to go beyond engagement as regards awareness, telling people about BIM. I think there is now need for us to go towards BIM adoption. And I think this is one of the major things that has been emphasized during the panel discussion is context conscious. The government needs to be context conscious because in the construction industry, we have both SMEs and we have the large firm. And these SMEs, they are majorly the backbone, they are the backbone of the construction industry, and they are lagging behind. So what we are seeing in the Africa construction industry is what is being referred to as massive effect or accumulation of advantage. The richer keep getting richer. The large firms that have the resources to actually adopt BIM, they continue to adopt BIM at higher level of implementation, while the SMEs are still really struggling. So the policy needs to be tailored, specific, and need to be directed to the SMEs because the SMEs, they don't really have that slack resources, and they are risk averse when it comes to investing in BIM. So I think we really need to have more policy specific that are tailored to the SME in Africa. And also, I think another important thing that was raised during the discussion was the issue of mandates. And Dr. Abanda did justice to that when he mentioned the need for vision, skills, and action plan. And if you look across the world, there are so many different BIM mandates, so many different BIM policies that have been promulgated across the world. But if you look at Africa, Africa is still a little bit empty when it comes to BIM mandates. So what's the way forward in Africa? Should we go for BIM mandates? Should we go directly for BIM mandate, or we should not mandate BIM? It's actually complicated. However, in Africa, the case of Africa is peculiar. So we need to focus on resources. We need to focus on resources, human resources, also capacity support. We need to support our industry. We don't really have that infrastructure. When it comes to in the construction industry, we don't really have that infrastructural support for BIM yet. And also our approach, according to one of the implications of this study is the top-down approach might be a little bit difficult. So it's better we go for nudge and mandates. We provide incentives to construction firms to adopt BIM while also trying to push them towards BIM adoption. But it's important to know that mandating BIM in Africa straight ahead might actually lead to more damage than more benefits. So it might actually lead to what's being referred to as BIM divide, in which you have those people like the large firm that have resources to adopt BIM, adopting BIM, while others why the SMEs that are the backbone, they might not really be adopting BIM. So mandating BIM in Africa head-on is not the right way to go. We need to look at resources, capacity support, and also look at having both nudge by providing incentive and also mandate. I think it's very important in Africa to look at this. And also, there are so many mandates that have been promulgated out there. We shouldn't copy right ahead. What worked in the UK, the 2016 BIM mandate that worked in the UK, definitely is not going to work in Africa, because it's more or less like we are comparing chopstick to fork. And I think this has been reoccurring in research, people asking for BIM mandates in Africa or in developing country. I think it's very important for us to be context conscious when we are advocating for BIM mandates. Also, I think some of the other key barriers that that have been identified in the report is knowledge related. There's still lack of skilled personnel in the construction industry. So for this, I think it has two implications. The two implications is we need to come up with short-term strategies and long-term strategies. What do I mean by short-term strategies? Short-term strategies are the type of strategies that you're going to use to tackle the problem head-on. The current problem we have that is lack of skilled personnel. So we can actually come up with trainees, providing trainings for construction workers. That will solve the problem right now. But the long-term solution is having graduates that are BIM compliant, having digital-oriented graduates, and this has to do with the institutions. So some of the action plans that BIM Africa is coming up with, we look forward to continuing engagement with stakeholders. And as such, I think we are going to have BIM Summit in 2023, where we are going to engage government bodies, and we are going to engage stakeholders in the construction industry in pushing forward for digital advancement of the built environment in Africa. And also, we are looking forward to increased tertiary institution engagement. We are looking forward to having institutions in Africa that they will be offering BIM courses, not only BIM courses, but digital digital innovation, digital construction. We need to have tertiary institutions in Africa that will have that will be offering courses, first degree course, and probably postgraduate degree courses in digital construction. And one of the ways that BIM Africa is contributing to this is the student advocacy program. So we look forward to continue to increase our engagement with tertiary institutions, and also we look forward to have increase more to have more corporate partnership with bodies that aligns with the goal of BIM Africa. So I think that's basically all for as regards the action plan and the policy implication. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abdullahi Saka. That was great. So we'll be moving to the next section, and I would like to introduce or welcome Kehinde Adeyemi. He would be the one starting the launch of the ABR 2022. Kehinde Adeyemi, you have the floor, please.
Hello all, thank you very much. If you can hear me, I'd like to highlight that the session has been very insightful. And indeed, we have ABR 2022 now. And I guess next steps will be action. We go through, we learn. I'd like to emphasize again that for this report, we've had well over 1,100 survey respondents who have participated in this report. And these respondents are from over 39 countries across all regions of Africa. And that is quite significant and useful in advancing our BIM journey on the continent. We've got 10 authors from a mix of individuals and corporate organizations as well. And very importantly, we featured projects from 5 African countries in this report. I'd like to affirm the impact of the report in driving the digital transformation that we all desire across the construction industry in Africa and across the globe indeed. I'd also like to touch on the fact that these reports moving on from now will now be made available to everyone in the industry. We should spread the news, share with all our contacts, our circles of influences, so that Africans can rise up and we have a reference. We can then research, build on what we have now, and then again actively advance the industry. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for their time, and on behalf of BIM Africa, I'm delighted and very honored to launch this English version of the report. I will now be passing the baton on to my colleague, Mohammed, for the Arabic version. And afterwards, we have the French version by the chairman of BIM Africa. Thank you very much. Hello.
Hello, everyone. I am Mohammed Abu. I will talk about the report in Arabic. أهلا بكم جميعا. بالنيابة عن بيم أفريكا بنشكر كل اللي ساهموا في التقرير الخاص ببيم أفريكا أو الاستجابة للسيرفي الاستطلاع أو الاستطلاع اللي كنا عملناه لسنة 2022. بداية احنا كنا ابتدينا اولا يعني النقط الرئيسية للتقرير كان من ضمنها الاستطلاع اللي تم سنة 2020 في حوالي 10 اشخاص تكرموا بعمل يعني شرح للمشاريع اللي كانوا اشتركوا فيها من حوالي 5 دول. لما نتكلم بداية عن الاستطلاع هنقول ان اشترك فيه حوالي اكثر من 120 مشارك من 39 دولة من جميع مناطق افريقيا. الاستطلاع كان هدفه ان احنا نشوف كل المؤسسات تقريبا من ضمن اللي اشترك في الاستطلاع من حول المؤسسات بتاعتهم، المهن الرئيسية بتاعتهم، هل هم مصممين ولا بيشتغلوا تبع خصم كميات ولا موقع ولا عملاء ولا ايه تخصصاتهم، البلاد اللي هم المشاركين منها، المشاريع اللي اشتغلوا فيها، وبالتالي المشاريع اللي اشتغلوها هل تم اشتغالها عن طريق استخدام برامج نمذجة معلومات البناء اللي هي او بيم تكنولوجي، ولا تم الاشتراك من خلال الطريق التقليدية سواء يدويا او عن طريق الكاد. نقطة تانية اللي كانت مهمة في الاستطلاع هي ازاي كل فرد عنده خلفية عن نمذجة معلومات البناء، سواء هو كفرد أو داخل المؤسسة اللي بيشتغل فيها أو اللي بيراسل أو بيتابع ليها. المؤسسات اللي احنا بنشتغل فيها، الأفراد اللي اشتركوا في الحصر أو الاستبيان، هل هم على علم ودراية بنمذجة معلومات البناء، وهل في خطة بالنسبة لهم مستقبلية لتطوير هذه المعلومات عندهم ولا لا؟ ايه هي المعايير اللي استخدموا فيها المؤسسات استخدمت فيها التكنولوجيا او نمذجة معلومات البناء؟ كل النقط دي هنلاقيها موجودة بالحصر بتاعها، بالإجابة بتاعت المشاركين المشكورين اللي اشتركوا في الاستطلاع. الاستطلاع ده هيعتبر هو والتقرير جزء مهم جدا للشركات والمؤسسات في أفريقيا، وأعتقد خارج أفريقيا كمان ممكن يستخدموه. بتوضح حال التكنولوجيا دي او التكنولوجيا دي استخدامها عباره عن ايه، وتوسعها ومدى انتشارها في السنين اللي جايه. احنا كنا قلنا ان من ضمن الحاجات غير الاستبيان اللي موجود في التقرير كان في بعض المشاريع المميزه من حوالي 5 دول، موريشيوس، المغرب، بوروندي، ليبيريا، مصر. في مشاريع كتير كانت موجوده، ولكن دي تعتبر من اكثر 5 مشاريع مميزه كانت متواجده، خصوصا انها مشاريع مختلفه، سواء حاجات خاصه بالصحه او التعليم او الاسكان. فكان ده نقطة من أو أحد أهداف أحد أهداف وجود المشاريع دي، إنها تبقى مشاريع متنوعة لكل واحد في استخدامه يقدر إن هو يعتمد عليها كمرجع ليه، أو يقدر يعرف التكنولوجيا دي الصناعة المستقبلية أو المستقبل لهذه الصناعة هيوصل لحد فين. التقرير زي ما احنا يعني ان شاء الله هنتفضل نشوف موجود في المشاريع، موجود في الاستطلاع، موجود في كل المراجع اللي ممكن اي حد يقدر يستخدمها. ونتمنى ان السنين القادمه يبقى فيه، او التقرير الجاي تحديدا يبقى فيه، الاستطلاع الجاي يبقى فيه عدد اكتر من الناس المشتركين، لان هو تاثيره على الصناعه في افريقيا للناس المهتمين بصناعه التشييد والانشاء في افريقيا هيبقى كبير جدا، من حيث معرفتهم بالتكنولوجيات الموجوده، البرامج المستخدمه، تطور الصناعه يقدر يستفيدوا بيها بشكل اكبر. من ناحيه ثانيه هيقدر ياثر في استخدام او المعايير اللي هتستخدمها الشركات كتير. فبالنيابه عن بيم افريكا، انا بشكر اللي عملوا السيرفي ان هم اشتركوا معانا في الاستبيان، وبدعو كل الحاضرين ان هم يحملوا النسخه او النسخ اللي موجوده للتقرير بيم افريكا بكل جميع اللغات، ويشاركوها مع اصدقائهم، مع الناس، يعني مع الافراد في المؤسسات اللي هم بيتعاملوا بيها، مع يعني كل من هو مهتم بهذه الصناعه يقدروا ان هم يشاركوا معاه. التقرير هيكون افضل لينا وللصناعه في نفس الوقت المستقبليا ليهم. واشكركم جدا، وهيتفضل زميلي بالشرح الجزء الخاص بتقرير نمذجة معلومات بناء باللغة الفرنسية. وبالنيابة عن بيم أفريكا احنا بنطلق النسخة العربية من تقرير بيم أفريكا 2022. Thank you all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mohammed Mustafa Abouf. So next we'll be moving to the French launch, and this will be done by Kamal, then Idrissi. Kamal, you have the floor. Thank you.
Merci à tous. D'abord, en mon nom et au nom de BIM Africa, j'ai l'honneur de vous souhaiter la bienvenue à cette rencontre de présentation du lancement de l'African BIM Report 2022, qui, il faut le savoir, sans un travail acharné, un engagement de tous les instants d'une équipe jeune et dynamique, n'aurait pu voir le jour. Ce travail a été réellement couronné par un succès total de cette édition, car il faut bien sûr retenir certains éléments, certains indicateurs clés. Plus de 1100 participants ont apporté des réponses pertinentes au sondage qui a été lancé. Ces participants proviennent de 39 pays de toutes les régions d'Afrique, ce qui nous donne un vrai surveil général autour de l'Afrique dans sa globalité. 10 auteurs qui sont issus de différents pays et différentes entreprises ont participé à la rédaction et aux différents articles de ce rapport. Et ce rapport a permis de mettre en lumière des projets de 5 pays africains qui montrent une certaine avancée, une certaine maturité par rapport aux projets engagés aujourd'hui en Afrique dans le secteur ou dans l'activité du BIM. Une première, d'abord, c'est que ce rapport a été lancé en 3 langues, en anglais, en français et en arabe. Que devons-nous retenir des sondages effectués? D'abord, c'est que la PME, la petite et moyenne entreprise, constitue l'essentiel de l'écosystème des entreprises dans le domaine des BTP, soit près de 85% des participants. Une représentation assez large des activités du BTP, avec une prépondérance des métiers d'architectes et d'ingénieurs génie civil, une participation également de l'ensemble des régions du continent africain, avec, nous le constatons, une répartition équilibrée entre les différentes régions, l'Afrique du Nord, l'Afrique de l'Ouest, l'Afrique centrale, l'Afrique du Sud. Et non seulement la notion du BIM est aujourd'hui assimilée chez quasiment tout le monde, mais elle est devenue aujourd'hui une pratique au quotidien. Certes pas à un niveau avancé que nous aurions aimé voir, mais au moins un niveau de production de la maquette ou de la modélisation 3D. Ceci, bien sûr, est caractérisé par une évolution de l'utilisation du BIM en interne au niveau des entreprises, puisque entre l'année 2020 et l'année 2022, nous sommes passés de 30 à 63%. Nous constatons malgré tout quelques faiblesses qui ont été relevées lors de ce sondage. C'est que cette évolution du BIM reste malgré tout assez lente et l'implication des gouvernements est réellement requise pour accélérer la digitalisation du secteur. Ce soutien doit, je dirais, se caractériser par la mise en place de directives qui incitent la mise en place du BIM dans les domaines du bâtiment et des infrastructures. Cependant, la vision du futur s'annonce positive puisque les répondants ou les participants sont tous d'accord pour dire que la généralisation du BIM sera effective dans les 5 ans à venir. Alors, ce rapport, à travers les indicateurs qu'il a mis en lumière, aura un impact certain sur la conduite de la transformation numérique de l'industrie de la construction en Afrique et dans le monde. Et c'est pour cela que j'invite tous les participants à étendre ou à encourager leur entourage intervenant dans le système de l'AEC et du BTP à télécharger et à partager au sein de leur cercle professionnel. Donc, au nom de BIM Africa, j'ai le plaisir de lancer cette version française et je terminerai par apporter mes remerciements aux panélistes pour leur intervention, aux participants qui, grâce à leur nombre, vont donner encore une énergie très positive à l'équipe de BIM Africa pour avancer dans son travail. Et surtout, je n'oublierai pas de vous souhaiter la bienvenue au BIM Africa Summit qui se tiendra les 18 et 19 mai 2023 à Marrakech. Nous serons heureux de vous accueillir au Maroc pour cette édition exceptionnelle. Merci, merci à vous tous et je passe la parole à l'équipe organisatrice.
Okay, thank you very much, Kamal. So everyone, we hope you enjoyed yourself and we hope you learned 1 or 2 things. So here we'll be drawing the curtain on the ABR 2022 launch, and we will be expecting you and the next edition of the 2024 launch. Thank you very much. So right now you would see on the screen a link, the link to download the page, the link to download the report. Okay, sorry, there's a mistake here. Would stop sharing and reshare it. Just a minute, please. Thank you. Okay, so we're sorry for that. Now this is the link you can use, or this is the link to download the ABR 2022 report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That brings us to the end of today's launch. Thank you to all the contributors, the panelists, and all the attendees. Thank you very much. We hope to get feedback from you as regards the report, and we look forward to further engagement as regards pushing forward digital transformation in Africa. Thank you very much, and have a great day or have a great evening, depending on what side, which side of the world you are. Thank you very much. Sisi, shukran, jazakallah khairan. Au revoir. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye and congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you to all the contributors. Thank you, Professor Abanda, for attending.
Thank you for
welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Merci à tout le monde. Bon courage, bonne continuation.
Thank you.
Thank you.